My name's Craig Boren. We're out here getting ready to hunt some rabbits. We've got the noisiest bird in Utah, well, second noisiest bird in Utah, Stella with us. She's saying good morning. She's excited. And right now we're going to start setting up our telemetry, which is a way we track our birds when we're out hunting, so that we know where they're at. If they happen to not come back to us, we can actually go ahead and pinpoint where they are and use our magic tricks to get them back. So to start off, we're going to open up the app by Marshall. It's called Arrow Vision. And that should pop up. That's going to start us off with our GPS and show us about where we're at when it finally loads. And then we're going to open up the rest of our gear. And this is what we call a pocket link. What this does is this is kind of our interpreter. So we have our transmitter. This goes on the bird, and this sends information and data to the pocket link, and our pocket link translates this into readable information, which we can view on the phone. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how it works. It also emits a radio frequency. This one is 434.065, so that we have a receiver that we can also pinpoint it if we lose signal with a GPS. We can find it with radio.
And if there happened to be somebody else in the area with another bird, would you'd be on different frequencies?
Usually we're on different frequencies. These kind of units we can actually program ourselves, so we can change the frequency, like right now. I have a couple of others that's not as high tech that we can't change. This is just a radio transmitter, so there's no GPS on this unit. And it's already programmed to a specific frequency that I can't change. I'd have to take it back up to the Marshall up in North Salt Lake, and they could reprogram it then. But it's not worth it. Just keep it the way it is. So there's a few different options there. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just get this set up. And we always start by connecting these two. Has a magnetic switch on and off. And it's gonna go ahead and try and connect to a few satellites.
And what kind of hawk is she?
She is a Harris hawk. Yes. And we'll get her out and plug her into everything else here in just a minute. Going on too, so come here. She has, there's different ways to mount the telemetry. She has a track pack on.
125 feet.
Yes. Yeah, I know, I messed it up.
75 feet.
Hi, bud. Good. So you can kind of see the plate. And we'll squeeze this through the center, if she'll let me. It stays on her back. It's out of the way when she flaps her wings. It's out of the way. It actually hides really well underneath her feathers. Other options are to mount it on the legs right here, where her jesses go. Sometimes that gets in the way when they try and grab stuff, but it's still a great way to do it. But I like the track packs. They seem to work really well, so.
So can you tell us a little bit about husbandry, temperatures, what kind of habitat these particular birds come from, if you could?
Absolutely. These birds in particular are a desert bird. They are from areas like Arizona, Texas, New Mexico. It's a lot warmer there than it is here in Utah. So we have to be mindful of colder temperatures. For example, right now it's February. Sometimes our highs are only in the high 20s. And our overnight lows can get down into the single digits, sometimes in the negatives. These guys will lose toes. They will lose, they call it wingtip edema, where the tip of their wings gets frostbite. And you know, just like you and your fingers, it's not good when you start losing fingertips and toes. So one of the things we do to mitigate that is, you'll notice we have a heat lamp in here. And it's designed right here so they can come closer together and they'll both benefit from that heat lamp. If I get this much closer, it actually starts to melt some of their feathers because of the heat from the lamp. So there's a certain distance you have to keep away from that to maintain both safety for the bird, both physically and its feathers as well, so we can keep them in good shape that way. Yeah, so we monitor the temperature pretty well as far as husbandry, and especially with these kind of birds. Yeah.
And they don't need a shelter, or this is plenty good enough for that?
It's usually plenty good. Sometimes with open enclosures like this, it can be a challenge. One of the benefits is with this particular setup is we have the house that helps block some of the wind, and then we also have some of the deck that also blocks from that direction. So a lot of it is pretty well protected as it stands. If it wasn't that way, it would be beneficial to have some sort of corner that they could fly into where it's kind of a refuge.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of prey? What do they eat? What is their favorite diet? If they do have a favorite diet, and do they just tell us about, do they eat feathers and bones and just like a whole bird or rabbit or whatever they're preying on?
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so they have a huge variety in diet. It can be anything from rabbits, voles, mice, pheasants, kids, rats. Just kidding, not kids.
I was about to say.
But yeah, really anything that moves is going to be on the diet for them, as long as they can tackle it and carry it within reason. I mean, obviously they're not big enough to go and chase down a deer and
right.
Have some fun with it that way, but anything that's reasonable for them, they'll go ahead and capture and take. One of the things we have to be mindful of is that they get more than just meat, right?
Okay.
Meat is good, but they don't get all the necessary nutrients and vitamins and minerals and all the other things that they would get from like the bones or the feathers or some of the organs even. The liver is a great thing for them to eat. It's got all the stuff in it that will help them rejuvenate some of the necessary vitamins and minerals that they need. So yeah, they get, when we feed them, it's not just raw meat. They do get the bones, they get the guts, they get the heads, and they get the beaks and the teeth and all of it. So yeah, so they'll digest most of everything they eat, but there are some things that they can't process.
Okay.
So
can bones break down?
Bones will break down in the hawks. Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the time they won't throw those up or cast them up. Owls, they'll go ahead and cast the teeth and the bones up, but the hawks and the falcons, their digestive tract is strong enough that they'll go ahead and break those down and utilize those nutrients in the bones.
Whoa.